Hi, I'm Mark Graham, Executive Director here at Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator in Abingdon. And along with our partners, the Washington County Chamber of Commerce and the Town of Abingdon, we're excited to welcome you to this edition of New Knowledge. We're excited today to have with us Cindy Hagman, and she's going to talk about setting up a LinkedIn business profile. Cindy has been training business professionals and college students on how to use LinkedIn since 2008. She has an extensive background in marketing, business development, fundraising, social media, and corporate training. She is in the enviable position of being semi-retired now and living on her hobby farm in Greenville, Tennessee, with her husband and multiple farm animals. So be sure to connect with her on LinkedIn. So thank you for being with us, Cindy Hagman.
Hi, Mark. Thank you very much. And I appreciate y'all having me here again. I've always enjoyed teaching and providing some education for this organization and for the people who support this organization. Been doing this with y'all for many years now. And it's always been great. And I've met some wonderful people through it. So today, by request, actually, we're going to be talking about creating your LinkedIn business profile. It's also called a company page. There's two different definitions on LinkedIn, but they're the same thing. And I just wanted to clarify that right now. So let's get started. So you might ask yourself, why do I need a LinkedIn business profile? And here's a few reasons. You need to advertise your company to other business professionals. It's an easy way to showcase your brand. It's a great way to post jobs for your company too. I do this all the time for different companies. More and more, they're asking me to post the jobs for them on their company profile and within LinkedIn. You get to post news and updates about your company that are business wise, and sometimes even fun things like anniversaries and big events that are happening with your corporation or company. It also helps LinkedIn members to find your company and know more about it. So if your company has let's say it has a website, and maybe that's it, or maybe you have a Facebook page as well. When you have a company page on LinkedIn, it brings you to a professional area versus just social. So it's very helpful with that. LinkedIn will allow the members of LinkedIn to follow your company, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on following the company. And also you can provide business solutions. So that's one of the things that I always have appreciated about LinkedIn. And I've been on LinkedIn. I've been teaching LinkedIn since 2008, but I've been on it since about 2004 when it first came out. And one of the reasons I actually got involved in LinkedIn was my husband was in the military and we were moving around, and I was in marketing, and I always wanted to find a job when we moved. And back in the day, if some of you are old enough to remember, we used to have to carry business cards or Rolodexes around with us, and with everybody's information on it. And I used to carry this big Rolodex around with me every time I would go to try to connect or reconnect with people and look for a job. And when LinkedIn came about, it was just a solution for me that I could not believe was perfect for me. Moving, I could take all of my contacts and connections with me right on my computer, right, without having to have one business card in front of me. So it was fantastic. So how do you set up a company page or business profile? So one of the first things that you have to do is you have to have an active personal LinkedIn profile. So if you haven't got one yet, you need to go on there and set up your personal profile. And then you must have a business email address to have a company page. So that means it can't be a Gmail email or a Yahoo. It needs to be the name of your business.com or .org or whatever your business is. And I don't know the exact reason for that, but I know that that is still a thing that has not changed through the years. So what you do and how do you find it is you go onto your personal page. Up at the top hand corner, you will see business, and then you look down here and there's this thing that says create a company page, and you click on that. So once you click on that, it's going to take you into a different area of LinkedIn where you can start setting up your company profile. So by doing that, you are going to follow the steps. It is step by step on LinkedIn. They've done a really good job of making it pretty easy. They do have some mandatory fields in there as you go along, but you might as well put aside at least an hour, maybe 2 hours to get this set up. I would also encourage you to do it on a laptop computer or desktop if that's what you have, not on your phone. And I would not do it on an iPad either. An iPad and a phone actually show up differently than on LinkedIn than it does on your laptop. That's actually the best way to do it. So like I said, you're going to follow the steps. It's pretty easy to do, but you will have to have some information, and you'll have to complete some things that you may not have right in front of you. So just go step by step. It's pretty easy. And then it'll ask you what kind of page you want to create, and you're going to click company like down here. So as you complete your company information, here's some of the things it's going to ask you. Obviously, you know the name of your company, your website. Your industry will have a drop-down box of some industries like manufacturing or healthcare or marketing or educational, or it's going to have a lot of different categories. You may not have a category that fits you exactly. Just choose the one that fits appropriately or the best. That is a mandatory field. The other thing is company size. It's going to ask you how many employees, and there's a range there. It's going to ask you your company type, whether you're sole proprietorship, partnership, publicly traded, things like that. Here's where you put your email address. This is the if you have only a Gmail or a Yahoo address, it's not going to let you move forward from here. So make sure you have your company email and you put that in there. And one thing that I didn't say before we got started was, if you do have any questions as we go along, please feel free to type them in, and I'd like to answer questions while we're usually on a page, and it makes it easier than trying to go back and find the exact answer. So if you have any questions, please feel free. Okay.
Cindy,
so,
we do have one question. And from Liz, she wants to know, how do you create a company email if you, I guess, you only have a Gmail or?
Yeah, so that would be something you would need to get from a website developer. The website developer would get your website done, and then from your website, they would create the emails for the people in your company. If you're a really small business and you don't have a website, you're going to need a domain. It comes from your domain name. So you're probably still going to need to contact a website developer to get that created, to make it like a .com or something like that. Is there another question? I saw another, hold on.
She just said, thank you.
Oh, okay. You're welcome. So one of the questions as you're going along is creating a company tagline. And so this is an optional, but I, being in marketing, feel like this is one of the most important things that you can put on your profile. So what is a company tagline? It's a concise way to communicate your company's core message and values, brands that identify to consumers. It's not your mission statement. So, but it's, hold hold on just a second. Let me move this over. It's in the way. So taglines convey the brand's identity, values, and core values, and should be short and easy to remember. And I'm going to give you some examples of some company taglines. If you don't have one, they're pretty easy to complete on your own. And another thing that can help you with it is AI. If you've never used chat GPT or anything like that, you could, this is a really fun way to kind of let them help you create one. Okay, so here's some examples that I found online of some that are kind of short and easy to remember. This one was connecting people and ideas to shape the future. We're building a better future for all through sustainable innovation. Here's one that says trusted partner for cutting edge technology solutions. And here's one that says delivering exceptional experiences and building lasting relationships. Those are all really good and to the point. They don't really say what they do. My favorite ones are the ones who kind of say what a company does, but at least it talks about their values, their core values for their company. So here's one that I wanted to highlight. So when you have a name for a company, like this one is Wall Einhorn Insurance, and I used to work there, and it's a wonderful company. But one of the things that I always struggled as a marketing professional, as their marketing director, was it doesn't tell you what they do. Are they a law firm? Are they an accounting firm? What are they? You know, when you have a name like that that's so generic. So I always thought, it was super important to go, hold on, to actually have more information. So on their tagline, they have tax assurance and advisory service for closely held businesses and their related individuals. So I think that is very helpful. If you didn't know what this company did, now you do. And the tagline is also very searchable too. And using keywords is important here for your company as well. And so that was one that I just, like. Here's another one that I like. This is a marketing and consulting company, and it's helping companies communicate short and sweet and to the point. And I think this is one of the best ones that I've seen in a long time. So like,
Hi, Cindy. Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Of course.
So the previous example, if you can go back to that,
This one.
next to their name, they had that little check mark, and that means that are you going to be talking about, that means that it's trusted, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a trusted company. It's been confirmed that it's a valid, trusted company. And you do that through the steps on LinkedIn by validating your company.
And
not everybody has it,
right?
And it's kind of new, but I would recommend that you go through the steps to try to do it. You can do it with your personal ones too. And I see that a lot of social media accounts are doing it too. I just got one recently to validate my Instagram. And then when I went in there, they wanted money for it. So I was like, I'm not going to do that because it was a personal account and I didn't want to pay the money. So just kind of be careful of what they're looking for, what they want. But yeah, that is one that, like, she doesn't have it. She's a new company, but she probably will have it. I think you have to have so many followers, and there's some criteria. She's also a brand new company, so that's probably one of the reasons why she doesn't have it yet. And she's only got 164 followers, so she's still building her company on that. So one of the next things that you need to do is add your logo in your company cover photo. So this big picture here is your company cover photo, and everybody's familiar with that because you have to have one of those, or should have one, on Facebook, and if you have a LinkedIn personal page, you should have one of these too. And this is where so if you're a small business, I would recommend that you have the same company cover photo for your personal and for your business, so it kind of ties the two in together. Obviously you would have your picture on your personal page, versus the company logo, but you could do something like what they did here and actually embed their logo into a nice photo. Now the photo has nothing to do with the company, but it's still a nice photo to look at, and that's okay to do that as well. If you're trying to design some things, and I always design things like this cover photo in Canva, and I think Canva is a really helpful. It's a graphic design software platform that offers a free version and an affordable paid version, and it makes you come off as a design professional when you use it. You can do almost anything with it, and now it even has AI options on it too that I'm just kind of exploring to learn more about Canva. I've used it for years and I highly recommend it. You can do so many things with it. Okay, so one of the next things, and this is something that you don't see everybody doing, about your location. So obviously this is a Johnson City Chamber of Commerce, and we already know where they are. So it says Johnson City, Tennessee on here. But if you go back to Naomi, she doesn't have a location on hers. One of the reasons she probably doesn't have a location is because she's a business consultant and she wants to be able to work with anybody, anywhere, and doesn't want to just define herself probably just to Knoxville, where she's from. So other companies, like, they have Knoxville on theirs, and Wall Einhorn has Norfolk, Virginia, although I know that they work in all over Virginia. And I know for a fact that PYA has 8 different locations all over the country, 8 or 9. They're headquartered in Knoxville, but so there's pros and cons to having your location. That is optional, and that is something that you have to decide for yourself how you want to present yourself. If you are a retail brick and mortar store somewhere, I would put your location down there. If if you mainly do business locally, I would do that. If you are open to doing business all over the place but don't have any business anywhere, then you might want to think about not putting it on there. So it's just, there's pros and cons to it, because if I want to find someone local to do business with, because I'm really big about doing local, I would really like to know where they are located. Of course, there's always ways to find out, but if it's right there, it's really helpful too. And that's searchable. You can put in business consultants in Johnson City, Tennessee, or Knoxville, Tennessee in LinkedIn, and you'll come up if you've got your location on there. So I think we have another question. Let me see.
Yeah, she's asking for location. Yeah, could you use something like Southeastern US?
No, because it goes by your zip code, and it's going to, once you put your zip code in there, it's going to populate the area. You don't get an option with it, but I wish it did, because I think that would be a great way, but no, it goes by your zip code and it's going to populate it itself. So you can play with it, see if it works for you or doesn't. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Okay, so one of the next things that you're going to need to do is put a detailed description of your business. So if you have a website, you probably already have some type of overview or detailed description of your company. If so, and you like the way it's written, go ahead and copy and paste it and put it into LinkedIn. Here's another idea. And I did this recently, and I was actually really pleased with it. Have AI help you write it if you don't have one yet. So if you've never used AI yet, I'm excited about all the opportunities that's out there, and I'm learning so much about it. I recently took a course, and I had to do a marketing business plan. And I've written many business plans and really done a lot of marketing plans through the years, but I decided this would be a good opportunity to use AI. So I used AI to help me write my business plan, and then I had to go in and tweak it because it's definitely not perfect. You have to go in and personalize it, but this is a great opportunity to use AI if you haven't used one yet or don't have a description of your company. What it does is it asks you certain questions when you use AI, and then it completes the information for you and fills in. Again, you're going to have to go in and tweak it and make sure that it fits and it's accurate. But it did a really good job with my business plan, and it took me maybe 20 minutes to, I had like I think it was a 2-page business plan, and it took me about 20 minutes to go through it and correct and add or take out things that didn't apply, which opposed to, it probably would have taken me 3 or 4 hours to write it by myself without the help of AI. So do it, try it with your detailed description if you haven't done it yet. One of the reasons I wanted to highlight this detailed description also is because there's a typo in it. And I guarantee you the people who have this still live on LinkedIn don't have a clue that it has a typo in it. And which brings me to another section, or another point, is make sure you read over it, and if possible, have someone else read over your information. Not only for typos, but just to make sure that they understand it. A lot of times what I find with working with industry professionals is that they know their terminology and they know their own little language. And so they'll write something out. And then to the rest of us who aren't as educated in that industry, when we try to read it, we can't understand at all what it says. Or maybe a couple of terminology is not what in our language. So, just be careful about things like that. And I think that, honestly, I think AI could be really helpful with this and help a lot. So hold on, I've got another question. Yes, she's correct. She pointed out the typo. Anybody have any questions on your detailed description of your business, what you do, where you do it? It's your who, what, why, where, when, and all of your business in a concise. I don't know the exact limits on how many words it can be, but sometimes you might even want to say, if you're a small business, why you started the business. What was the need, or what is your experience in doing this? If you're a large company and you're writing it, there's probably something already written out there or something that you can pull from. But it's the small companies when they start that usually have to struggle with, how do we get started with this? Okay, so custom buttons. So this is new on LinkedIn, and the button is here. This button can be changed, and I would highly recommend that you do what Naomi has done with hers and click visit website on there. A lot of businesses don't use this, but you can change this button. These cannot be changed, the message and the following, but connect your website right here. Make it easier for people to contact you. Make it easier for people to find you. If you can put a button right in there, do it. A lot of people don't know about this, but I would definitely utilize this to your best advantage. Okay, hashtags is another new thing that LinkedIn introduced for businesses and for people. So if you haven't used hashtags before, what you'll want to do is come up with some hashtags that might work for your business or your industry. I put a couple examples down here, but I don't, without knowing what your background is or what kind of industry you're in, you'd have to come up with them or use AI. Put a couple of words down, ask AI to give you some hashtags. So you can use 3 hashtags on your business profile. And why would you want to do that? Well, it would certainly help people find you easier. And then you can take those 3 hashtags and use them every time you post on LinkedIn. So it all connects things together. You know, make sure you can change them out too. So say you start out with some hashtags and then a year from now, maybe you've shifted or pivoted and your company's doing a little bit different, or you want to update things, go in and change those hashtags. Just be consistent with them. And so you can actually, a lot of people don't know this about LinkedIn. You can actually go to the search bar in LinkedIn and put in a hashtag, and posts will come up, companies will come up, people will come up. So if I just put in Tennessee, anything that has relative to Tennessee or manufacturing or marketing, small businesses in Tennessee, you know, things like that. All of that will come up within LinkedIn. I don't think LinkedIn uses the hashtags that well because they haven't really caught on, but I think they're out there and they're a great marketing tool. And I think you should try to use them if you can. Okay, so your specialties, this goes on the same page where you put your detailed description of your business, and your specialties, are right there, which she's got training, speaking, facilitating, business plans, marketing, and storytelling. Yours are going to be unique, and yours are going to be keywords that, you know, if you're an accountant, maybe it's the type of accounting that you do. You know, if you're in manufacturing, it's going to be whatever you do for your manufacturing. If you're a small business, you know, it's going to be pertaining to that. So, and you can utilize those specialties in your overview as well, and also in your hashtags that we just talked about. The yeah, very, very important. Keep it consistent. So here's something that a lot of people don't do either, or don't know about. So you already have your personal page on LinkedIn, and what you're going to do is connect your personal page to your company page. So what you do is you go to your personal page and you go to your experience. And then as you start typing in the name of your company on LinkedIn should come up. Now, you have to wait until after you've already published your company page to make this happen, obviously. But once your company page is up and running and published, go to your personal page, go to your experience section where you would put in your jobs that you've had, and then start typing in the name of the company. LinkedIn will find your company and populate that field for you on your personal page, and it'll put the logo right in there too, which is really, really nice. And one thing we didn't talk about, if you don't have a logo already either, you can even create one in Canva, like we had just talked about Canva, or you can hire, you know, someone on Fiverr, which is a great resource for developing things. But Canva is great to help you with things like that, and AI can help you with that now too. I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't have to spend a lot of money on or a lot of time, which is great. Does anybody have any questions about joining the company and personal profile together? That's real important. The other thing you'll want to do is to make sure that if you have other employees, that they do the same thing, and make sure that it's all consistent on there. So say for instance, you've got 5 employees, but you've never had a company page. So these people may all have LinkedIn profiles, but their page is not going to automatically populate and connect with the company profile until they go and do it, if that makes sense. If they previously had the page, because if you didn't have a company profile, it's just going to be the name of the business, the company on there. But once you start your company profile and it's published, they've got to go back into their profile and marry and connect the two together. So when you do it, if you have other employees, be sure to ask them to do it as well, so that the logo will show up. When the logo shows up, that way you know you've got it corrected, and you can click on that logo and it'll take you to the company business page.
I have an odd question.
Sure.
What happens if the person who set up the company page from their personal no longer works at the company? How do you get the new person?
There's absolutely
shaking your
nothing
head.
you can do about that. If they have left the
So does,
company,
yeah,
they have to change it. There's it, and I've worked with people and that's actually in my presentation here is never, ever, ever have only one admin on your page. I'm dealing with that right now with a company who they don't even know who the admin of the page is, because it was so long ago and so many people ago. So they actually cannot regain access to their company page. That is a nice company page, but they can't gain access. We have contacted LinkedIn, but it's not a priority for LinkedIn. Sometimes they'll address it if you can prove who you are and that that it's legit, but sometimes they don't even acknowledge it, and it can take months. But if an employee, so the main thing that I deal with is if somebody passes away in their company, and they are on the company profile, there's nothing you can do about that. You can contact LinkedIn, and I've actually had some success with sending an obituary if somebody has passed away to LinkedIn. The other, which is more common, is when people leave disgruntled from a company and they won't take your company off from their LinkedIn profile. There's nothing you can do about that. I mean, that is so common. Now, and we're talking about two different things, though. One of them is just having someone connected to the with that employee having the profile listed on their LinkedIn as they used to work there or do work there. And the other thing I'm talking about is adminning your company profile page. Do not ever, ever, ever just have one person admin in your page. And that's when people run into trouble every single time. And you can try to contact LinkedIn, but like I said, it's about a 50% chance that they'll even acknowledge that you've contacted them, unfortunately. But I have had some success with it through the years. Does that answer your question, Jean?
yes, thank you.
You're welcome. So here's a few tips I have at the very end. I get this a lot. How many times do I post on my company page? I would say at least once a week. Twice a week is more optimum. You don't need to post every day. You don't need to post anywhere every day. No one needs to see your stuff every single day, no matter who you are. I guess if you're a Kardashian, they might need to, but otherwise we're good. Be sure to share your company posts from LinkedIn to your personal page as well. That's something that a lot of people fail to do. So you'll have the access to post something on your company page about your company, and then from your personal page you'll see it on your feed because you follow the company, and then you can share that again. So here's a little tip. When you share something, no matter what it is, whether you're on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever you're on, put something about why you shared it. It really disturbs me when someone just shares things and they don't put why they shared it, because I'll look at something, I'm like, I don't understand, why did they share this? Or is this something relevant? Or is this something I should look at? So especially if it's an article or an award or anything like that, put something about it. You could, even if you just put, this is worth sharing, or this is a 3-minute read worth your time about blah, blah, blah. That to me is important too. Because if I'm following you, I'm trusting you. And if you put something out there, more than likely I'm going to look at it if you tell me to. If you just share it, I'm not really sure why you're sharing it, if that makes any sense. When you get in as an admin on your company page, you can invite other people to follow your company page. And I encourage you to do this. This is one way that you get followers on your page. You can, but you have to be connected with them on LinkedIn, but it'll give you an option to put names in there, and then you can send them an invite to follow your company page. Another way that they'll follow your company page is if they are connected to you, obviously, and they see your post from the company page, then they'll be like, oh, I should follow this company because, you know, so-and-so works there, or so-and-so is sharing from that company, and I trust them, and they're a business professional. But be sure to do that. A lot of people just start a company page and then they call me and they go, I don't have anybody following me. And I'm like, well, what have you done? Are you posting? Have you invited people to follow your page? Are you sharing? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, so these are all steps. Another one is you need to like, comment, and share relevant posts from others. It can't just be all about you. If there's other posts that are out there that are pertaining to your industry or informational or it's news, be sure to share it, like it at the very least, and comment on it. And by saying that too, as a company page, you can actually follow other companies too. And I would encourage you to do that. And don't get political. Stay out of politics on LinkedIn. I just encourage you to do that. Update your page regularly. So once you get your page up and running, and it'll take you a couple hours, and you're going to go in and out, and you're going to figure, and you're going to say, I want to do this a little bit different. And it's okay. You want it to be done right. But as you 6 months from now, go back and look at that page and reread it again a year from now. And same with your personal page, and make sure it's projecting the brand that you want, and it's important to keep it updated. Hold on, we got a question. Liz's question is there any restrictions to sharing as it relates to crediting sources? So Liz, normally when you share an article, it's already got the attached article and the source on there. If you're sharing something that doesn't have that, I would definitely give credit to where credit's due. But typically, if you're sharing an article or sharing something, you're sharing the original article, or if it's a photo and it's just a photo, definitely you need to credit artwork or photo. But of course, if you have Canva and you start creating things, then you don't have to do that. I've got another question. Oh, thank you. You're welcome, Liz. Okay, so this is a big one too that it doesn't seem people struggle with this. And encourage employees and friends and even relatives of yours who are on LinkedIn to be engaged and follow your page. So you would think that would be pretty simple. When I've taught classes before to companies and they're all working for the same company, say I've got 50 people in a room and they all work for the same company, and I say to them, how many follow your company page? It's shocking to me how many people don't even follow their own company page. And so, first and foremost, please encourage, you can't make people do it, but encourage them to follow the company page. And then encourage them as well to share things from the company page. So when you guys share a page, if you only have a couple of employees, say 2 or 3, just kindly ask them to share the posts as well. Again, you can't make them do it, but it sure would be nice if they would do that, and maybe figure out a way or what works for them and on how they can do it. But people are funny about sharing things, although there's plenty of people who share misinformation out there, but they won't share an award or something that happened with their company. So I'm kind of always surprised at that. Yesterday, I was contacted by somebody, and it was through an Instagram business who had just recently won an award. And they asked me what were some of their ways that they could, include the this award that they got. And so we start talking about all the different avenues, and LinkedIn was the number one. Was, you know, first of all, you need to put out there what the award is and put links from it, maybe put a photo of you accepting the award, or a photo of the actual award and what it means to you and what it's about. The other thing that you could then do, if your company or organization has won any awards whatsoever, now you can call yourself an award-winning company or business or organization. So you can add that. You could put that on a tagline. There's a lot of things that you can do with it. And it doesn't even matter, you know, necessarily, you know, what kind of an award it was. I mean, you know, you would want to put what it is, but it kind of changes things, and it kind of ups your game, and it gives you an opportunity to announce something favorable about your company. So often people just share information, you know, that we've hired this person or that we've done this. But when it comes to awards and it comes to being presented with something, or you know, it being recognized, it's real important to kind of toot our own horn about that. And a lot of people kind of failed to do that. This person that I had this conversation with yesterday is actually a very good marketing person too. And they reached out to me to say, hey, how would you utilize this? How would you, you know, use this with the brand? And when I suggested to them that they call themselves an award-winning, you know, company now, they said, oh, what a great idea. Like, it never occurred to them something that simple. And so just be sure that you're thinking about all the little things when you set up your company profile. You may be going through this every single day and you're like, oh, this is just normal for me. This is just normal. No, it's not normal for others to read about that kind of stuff. So be sure to put it on there. The other thing we talked about this before was using your hashtags in your posts. So if you're doing a post, any post, you could do one hashtag or the 3 hashtags that you came up with. It'll all help with your SEO and your branding. Here's another thing that is a little bit controversial, but I do recommend it. I recommend it for everybody. Look at your competition pages on LinkedIn and see what they're putting out there. You're not going to copy them, but it might give you some ideas about how you can elevate what you're doing, or say things that or even things like what type of things you want to post or what type of things you want to follow. So follow your competition pages. Go into LinkedIn and follow these pages. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not doing anything illegal or anything unethical. So we talked about this briefly, is review all your information for accuracy and typos. I mean, even the slightest little thing, if somebody's reading it, in my mind, when I see it, if I see a typo, I feel like somebody didn't take the time, you know, to do this correctly, or to spell this correctly, or they left an A out instead of an N. And when people do things like that, and we all do it, but when they do it, it makes me think, well, do I want to do business with them? Because maybe they're just scurrying and not taking the time. Have somebody look at what you've written if possible. And if you have nobody to look at things, connect with me and message me, and I'll be happy to look over your pages for you and give you feedback. And I do that all the time for people. And we did talk about this already, but adding another admin to your page I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Even if it's somebody that isn't even in your, you know, business, say your husband or your wife, if they're on LinkedIn, say, hey, I really need to add another person on this. I'm just going to add you on here. And that way, if something happens, you have a way to get back into the page. I've actually had people that have gotten hacked and gotten blocked from their page. And it actually happened to me personally, where I got hacked and blocked out. And I had my daughter, who is a marketing professional for another company, but my daughter was and one of my admins, and she was able to get me back in and get me access to my page. So things like this do happen, and be careful. And then at the very end of all this, you're going to publish it. And then, that's when things are gonna, that's when it get fun. But publishing is not the end of it. Then it becomes managing it, and you need to actively manage that thing for several months to get it up and running. I wanted to give you a link too, and I think we're going to send this link out to everyone also. But LinkedIn provides small business solutions, and they do a pretty good job in and it's really helpful. And I would highly, highly recommend it to do that. Another thing that I would highly recommend on LinkedIn, it's called LinkedIn Learning, and it's at the top of your page as well, but it's over on the right hand side. It says LinkedIn Learning, and when you go on that, there are videos and blogs and short videos. Like you can do a 1-minute video on how to do something within the business world. Really, really helpful. You can search for all kinds of topics. So if you're like me and you're trying to learn different things about AI, that's a great place to go in and get information on it. All right, connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to. I'm happy to help you with anything. Does anybody have any questions? Liz just says it was a helpful presentation. Thank you. You're welcome, Liz. Thank you to everyone who came on board. And if you connect with me and you have questions later on, or you think of them as you're going in to create your page, if you connect with me, it's really easy for me. You can say, hey, what about this? Or will you take a look at my page? I'm really happy to do that. It really is. I can go through it pretty quickly and give you a quick eval on it. So thank you everyone for participating, and I hope you connect with me.
Other questions for Cindy? Cindy, that's been very helpful. Very good presentation. I can tell you we've had the same challenges that you just talked about. Our executive director here at the incubator retired at the end of the year, and we're fortunately she's still around, but she's administrator on all these accounts, and we're having to get them switched over. So that's good advice about having multiple folks sharing as administrators for sure. So thanks again, Cindy. Great program. This will be posted to our New Knowledge YouTube channel, so you can watch it anytime if you want to go back and refresh your memory or view other programs that we've presented over the years. They're certainly available. We want to thank again our partners, the Town of Abingdon, the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, and the folks here at Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator. Our next program will be Wednesday, May 21st at noon, when we'll do a program on nonprofit board governance with Cindy Colson from the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. And so thank you to everyone who joined us today. Thank you, Cindy, and everybody have a good day.
Thanks, everyone.